How's it going, gamers? Ronan McCullough here, along with my colleague Rebel X, and we're here to do a review of the brand new Battlefield Hardline for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and of course PC. Now, starting off with this brand new game, let's talk about presentation. Rebel X, what do you think of Battlefield Hardline?
Well, you know, I mean, a lot of people have been saying the gaming community has been kind of split in half about this game. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people say it feels like DLC, others feel like it's a brand new game. For me, it feels like a brand new Battlefield game. Coming from someone who played Battlefield 4, which was atrocious for the first easily 3-4 months, and it never really recovered. First of all, graphics-wise, I will say this, multiplayer graphics, they're not the best. If you played Battlefield 4, you're going to notice a bit of a downgrade. And that is unfortunate. It doesn't quite make sense that the graphics got downgraded a bit for this particular version of Battlefield. But what I will say, though, that they did a fantastic job is the sound. I don't know what it is that EA is feeding their sound system, but whatever it is, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, you know, every gun has a personality. It feels incredibly realistic. I mean, you put this thing on the stereo on your TV. Oh my God, your TV's gonna rattle. It just makes you. It really pulls you in. The car noises are great. They even have radio stations in the car where you find a radio station instead of like a cafe doing the big
whoop. There comes the police. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it brings you into the atmosphere. It's fantastic. As far as the graphics go, I can understand what you mean. I think they look fine. I mean, they might come off a little, maybe a little cartoonish, not as gritty as past.
I mean, not as gritty,
but distractible environments are still pretty good.
Yeah, no, they've definitely. I really like that. Not every map, but a good portion of the maps have full destructible environments. You can destroy, like for example, there's a map that takes place in the ghetto, and you can destroy entire blocks of houses. It's really a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. The Levolution is not too bad. You can see giant cranes come crashing down. You can see bridges going out. I mean, that kind of stuff is really a lot of fun.
As far as characters, the characters are constantly talking, which really brings in, really feel like you're part of a team to hear them constantly talking on both sides, cops and criminals.
It brings you into that realm of, you know, an intense firefight between cops and crooks.
Yeah, it's true, because if they're just silent, it just feels fake. So the constant talking does feel realistic. My only problem with when it comes to the characters, in past Battlefield games, since it was all soldiers, the soldiers got the helmets on, the uniforms, so of course they're all going to look the same. You can't really see the details of their faces. With this one, because some of the cops and criminals don't wear headgear and all that, you can see their faces, and unfortunately, you'll see like 4 or 5 cops running around, and they all look the exact same, and it kind of pulls you out thinking like, oh my God, you're in an army full of twins. Yeah. It does happen occasionally.
It would have been nice if they had a couple more character models, like they've done.
Or if you can customize a little bit more. Maybe
you can customize. You can buy outfits, but they're really... it's not that deep of a customization in terms of what you make your character look like. I mean, you could buy an outfit to wear instead of wearing a black jacket, he's wearing a red jacket.
Yeah.
Still looks the same. Yeah. So it's not very deep, but presentation-wise, graphics are good. They're not the best. Sound-wise, fantastic.
The maps, I think are fantastic. I think it's a great variety of
the maps. Look fantastic.
Oh yeah,
the maps are very well done.
You play all over the country. You're like in the Hollywood Hills playing a Hollywood mansion, or you'll go to Florida in a Florida mansion. You're in the swamps. You're in the ghetto. You're in the desert. Yeah. It's also the best part about all these maps, incredibly close quarters.
Very well, close quarters, but also too that when you play maps that have vehicles, it's not where these maps are huge and it takes you forever to get from point A to point B just to get into a fight. Literally, when you spawn in, you jump in a car, you jump on a bike, you drive, and you're there in the battle in less than a minute.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we've wanted in Battlefield 4, but now we have it in Battlefield Hardline. So presentation-wise, overall, very, very good. Now, talk about story, which I think is the weakest part of Battlefield Hardline, which has always been the weakest of any Battlefield game. They've always tried to deliver a fun story, which I don't blame them. I give them credit, but every time it fails, and this is no different. The tagline for this whole story is just like all those TV cup dramas you see. Well, guess what? They all suck. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's no different here. You play a guy by the name of Nicholas Mendoza, who's a detective working for the Miami Police Department, and he's investigating, drugs. He's investigating corrupt cops. He's going after crooks, and then later on some, people who may not be who they say they are. It's a fun story. Is it engaging? No. Is it going to keep you, at the edge of your seat the whole time? No. Are there some fun missions here and there? Absolutely. But if you do not have internet access for your gaming console or your PC, is this worth $60 alone? Hell no. It is not worth $60 alone.
Let's put it this way. Have you ever seen a cop show or have you ever seen a cop movie? Then you've seen the story mode.
Yeah.
That's really as always, and as you pointed out, when you buy a Battlefield game, you're buying it for the multiplayer. You're buying it to go online.
You don't play it to single player.
You're not doing the single player. The most you can have a single player is maybe you'll unlock a few things faster, but for the most part, or maybe if you're waiting for your friends to go up online, you just want to kill time and maybe do some practice.
You do get battle packs to take into multiplayer, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But other than that, single player, it's entertaining. Is it worth the $60 alone? No way. So if you don't have internet access on your console or PC, do not even bother even looking at this game.
Yeah.
Now, going into gameplay, which will integrate multiplayer also into that, this is where Battlefield Hardline, for me, really, really shines. I played the beta. We both played the beta. Played EA Early Access. We knew exactly what we were getting into, and this game does not disappoint. One of the biggest changes they've done to the Battlefield franchise is in the old-fashioned way, if you unlock a gun or gear or whatnot, you'd have to grind. You'd have to play the same character class for days, even weeks, before you finally unlock the gun after a long trial period of, unlocking a bunch of other stuff. This time, they've gone the way of Counter-Strike, where everything you do, from killing an enemy to helping your teammates out, playing the objective, you get cash. Cash is where everything, you can buy any gun you want at any time, you can buy any vehicle you want, anything you think of, you can buy it. It is fantastic how they've implemented this into the Battlefield franchise, and I hope this is the new thing now for Battlefield, that they keep it like this, because I love the idea that I can buy any gun, any gear that I want, just like that, without having to wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to buying the gun, I agree completely. I like the idea that you can just buy a gun, because you're going to be gaining a lot of money through all your missions, so you might as well be able to use that money to get something.
Yeah.
Now, as far as extra accessories on the guns, like scopes and grips, those ones you still have to grind. You still have to grind, which is fine, because at least it gives you something to strive for. However, my biggest complaint is the battle packs. I have to be honest, I just don't see the point to them anymore. Basically, you have 3 different battle packs. You have the bronze, the silver, and the gold. You have to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on these things, and you really don't have any idea what's going to be in them. You might get a grip, or you might get a scope, but you're really not sure if those are the ones you want, if it's going to be for the gun that you want, and then you buy them, and it's just, you're wasting money, you're wasting time. I honestly believe that if you were going to be allowed to buy equipment, you should just be able to go ahead and buy the very thing that you want, not have to buy a little gift bag and hope that you find what you want in there. I think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield recently Battlefield games have implemented the whole battle pack system, and this is by far the worst way they've done it in this.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, bronze battle packs, useless garbage. Silver, you get a decent amount of stuff every once in a while. Gold, it's okay, but overall,
not worth the money.
Not worth the money, not worth your in-game currency, and definitely not worth real life currency like they've implemented now recently. EA, obviously this is something we're not too surprised about seeing. The other thing too, that as of right now, a lot of top gaming media websites like IGN, GameSpot, even some top YouTubers out there that have already reviewed Hardline are saying, oh, the server system is smooth. It's one of the smoothest launches ever. I don't play a game where there's a single thing of lag. Really? Really? Does this look like no lag to you?
I don't.
It's the charge.
Yeah, no, I gotta be honest with you, the biggest problem I have right now with Battlefield Hardline is for every game I will play where there's no lag whatsoever in any mode I play, I will then unfortunately have the unfortunate luck of playing the next couple matches where there will just be atrocious lag.
Oh yeah, the game cuts out halfway through, or, I mean, it gets comical, I'll give you that, but there have been times...
It's funny to see it.
Yeah, you see a guy like in a crouch mode, and he's literally like ice skating across the ground. He's gliding in crouch mode. It looks ridiculous. Or there have been times where a guy freezes in the middle of the battlefield, and he looks like a scarecrow. Or you see this really bad,
you see really bad stop, like that.
You see really bad stop motion. You see a guy literally just cutting from one location to another, just in quick jumps. It looks ridiculous, it's irritating, and it really does affect the gameplay because it almost makes these guys impossible to kill, or it takes you out of it because it looks unreal.
Or you get killed because of the lag. I mean, bottom line is that the server system, it's getting better. It's definitely improving beyond what Battlefield 4, how long it took that. So the people over at Visceral Games have definitely taken into the account that people are having server problems and they're fixing it. Until they fix it, be aware, you're probably going to run into some lag for the next, I would say another week or so, because we're about 2 weeks into Battlefield Hardline's release. It's probably going to take another week before the servers are completely fixed, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
So as of right now, make sure you play in your own region. Don't start venturing off and playing. Like if you're from the west coast of the US and you start playing in Europe, you're going to cause a lot of lag for yourself and anyone else who's in those servers.
Yeah.
So if you want to be hated, go ahead and play in those servers. But if you don't and you want to experience a much smoother ride, I recommend you stay within your own region. Now, the modes they've added to this game are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
This is what makes Battlefield Hardline really shine. They have all the classic ones here, like Team Deathmatch and Conquest. It's been with the Battlefield series since its beginning.
But Conquest, instead of just going after territories, you're going after cars.
Which is called hotwire mode.
Which is awesome, because literally, if you love chase sequences, man, if you love like the Fast and Furious movies, or if you love like the classic bullet movie with Steve McQueen, this is literally it. You're in a car and you're just driving around, and it's a pretty close course, but that's a good thing, because it's so tight. It just feels like constant chaos.
And you gain so much cash in playing those modes.
That's
my
a little
favorite
cheat, though.
mode. It's not a cheat because they made it that way.
Yeah.
I'm just taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
So, but the one of my favorite modes that they've added here is called heist mode, where you play as either cops or crooks. And the crooks are trying to steal money out of vaults or abandoned buildings, and the cops have to move in and try to stop them. It's basically every single intense shootout you've seen in a movie like Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, or The Town with Ben Affleck. It's really it's those kind of modes, because you have such intense firefights at banks, in towns out in the desert, because you're trying to break in to stop the crooks from stealing from a marijuana farm or whatnot. It's all those kind of really intense action moments. You also have a rescue mode, which is more tactical, where you have to go in and save hostages as the cops or as the criminals. You got to stop them from saving the hostages.
Best part about that is one life.
You have one life, so it's much more of a tactical sense. You have to be careful where you go. You have to really work with a team and not really lone wolf it, or you're just going to die a lot. I mean, there's a few other new modes as well, and overall, what Visceral Games has been given, I think what people are kind of missing about the whole point about this is that Visceral Games was kind of given a franchise that was basically limping, because Battlefield 4 was atrocious. I'm not going to lie, we both played it, it was bad, and Visceral Games was given like, hey, here you go, here's a franchise that just had a horrible, last game, here you go, good luck, Godspeed. And given what Visceral Games pulled off, I think it's been a fantastic game. Do I think it's a great game? Is it the Battlefield game? No, it's not. But what they've had to work with for what's here, I think it's a really good game. My other complaint, though, about this game, my final complaint, is that there are 56 weapons in this game. Now, on paper, that sounds great. The problem, though, with this is that each character class and each faction has their own guns. So obviously the criminals have AKs, the cops have M4s, whatever. But each character class within those factions has their own set of guns, and unfortunately, each character class only has 3 to 4 main guns.
Yeah.
And if you're a Battlefield veteran like us, you're going to unlock those guns just like that. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to grind a little bit to get the special stuff attached to them, but I would have loved to see more weapons.
Yeah.
There really is no excuse. I'm hoping the DLC is worth it. I hope Premium's worth it. I wouldn't buy it yet, because they haven't announced anything for it yet, so don't bother spending that $112 pack with the game and Premium attached to it. I would wait on that if I were you. But overall, I'm really enjoying Battlefield Hardline. I think it's definitely one of the better Battlefield games to come out in a very long time. If I had to give this game a letter grade, A being fantastic, D being absolutely terrible, I'm going to give it a B. I think it's a good game. It's not great. I think what Visceral Games had to work with and what they've delivered is a very, very fun Battlefield experience. I cannot wait for them to work on the next Battlefield game. And yeah, I think it's just a really great addition to the franchise.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it a solid B, although I was pretty close to giving it an A. I agreed that not enough variety in characters, not enough variety in weaponry. I wasn't going to play the single player anyway, because I'm going to play online. But I think it's incredibly intense. It's close quarters. It's an incredible environment. It's just so much fun to go up online and play these incredible modes with your friends. So yeah, I think it's a great game. I'm going to give it a good B. Still have some problems with it, but overall just a very solid game. And with so many other games coming out later in the year, this game I think will last you up until the other games come out.
If the DLC is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the DLC is worth it. And also too that you're not completely burnt out with the whole modern combat era thing, because we are using the same guns we've been using in past Battlefield games and even in Call of Duty. So if you're kind of burnt out of the whole modern era thing and you want to dive back into the past like World War II or going to the future. This game's not going to satisfy that craze, obviously, but overall, we enjoyed it. Yeah. So, Battlefield Hardline gets a B for me.
B here too.
All right. On the positive side, Battlefield Hardline offers a very unique and fresh experience into the Battlefield franchise with the whole cops and criminals theme. We love the idea that you can now earn cash for everything you do that helps you unlock weapons and gadgets, so you don't have to worry about grinding for days or weeks anymore. And finally, the biggest thing is that from the weapons to the maps themselves, this game overall feels very, very balanced. Something very refreshing and something we've missed in past Battlefield games.
On the negative side, it's still a modern shooter. If you're getting tired of all the modern warfare games, this game's really not for you. Although it is nice to be on the streets and be more cops versus criminals, which is very rare to see these days, it's still a modern shooter with modern weaponry and modern technology. The servers are an issue. Although it's still early and more than likely they're going to fix this in the future, it's something to keep in mind because it's going to cause constant lagging, constant delays, your server might crash. So, although this is probably going to be fixed in the future, just keep it in mind that this is, at the time, a serious issue. And finally, the battle packs are completely useless. There's no reason to have these little goodie bags in which you have no idea what's inside of them and waste all this money. You should be allowed to just buy the guns and buy the equipment that you want, or at least grind the old-fashioned way.
Alright gamers, that's all the time we have for today in the War Room. Thank you so much for checking out our Battlefield Hardline review. Be sure to check out the rest of our Battlefield Hardline vids on how to help you get the right guns, the right gear, and how you can earn extra money with some of our gameplay tips and tricks vids. Don't worry, we're going to be doing more gameplay tips and tricks on Battlefield Hardline very soon, along with more gameplay tips and tricks vids on upcoming video games very, very soon. Until then, I'm Rebel X.
I'm Ronan McCauley.
We'll see you guys next time here in the War Room.